Hi guys, it's Nicole at the Pearl Review. I have not been reviewing very much lately because I've been reading a lot of nonfiction, but there's been a few things that I wanted to briefly share with you this weekend. And the first review that I wanted to put out into the world again is The Sellout by Paul Beatty. This book is an excoriating novel, and it's the only satire, at least an American satire I could think of, that was published in the 21st century. Admittedly, I mostly read older books, but I feel like I would have maybe heard about others at this point. And this book kept on coming up in terms of looking at my Goodreads account or talking to friends. And I know that there was a mixed review. Some people really liked it and some people had mixed feelings about it. But I was really impressed by this book. This book won the Man Booker Prize in the UK. If you're not familiar with the prize, it is very prestigious. And actually, this was the first American awarded the prize. So that's kind of a big deal. Before I jump into talking about the book, I think what's very important to note is that this book had an impetus. When Obama was inaugurated in the United States, the term post-racial was really, really popular to the extent of being overused. And Beatty, as an African American man, decided to make a scathing satire to disprove the notion that America was at the time post-racial, which makes reading this now, 2021 or later, maybe a little strange because unfortunately, at least at this point, racial issues have really come to the fore in American culture again. But Beatty does include those topics in terms of police brutality, discrimination. Many of the issues that are very salient now are in this novel. The story of The Sellout is the story of Bon Bon, who at the beginning of the novel finds himself in a race trial at the Supreme Court. He's charged for resegregating his community and unwillingly owning a slave. Now, Bon Bon is an African American, so this is so absurd that it makes one scratch their head upon reading. Bon Bon mentions at some point in the book that this is a way to mock him and his community's powerlessness. Even that explanation didn't completely elucidate to me why this was happening in the novel, but I understood that this was a satire about, America not choosing to see how unfair and racist it still is. Bon Bon resegregates the bus, he resegregates the school and the hospital, and his neighbor Hominy Jenkins basically implores him to be his master after he saves his life. This book is really, really funny. It's deeply uncomfortable and deeply offensive, but its offensiveness has a point. It is incredibly sharp, and the strength and the anger and the wit to his voice really is at a high point throughout the novel. It's an extremely strong novel in that sense. The book does sort of meander a little bit, but the mood and I guess mind of Bon Bon is always sharp and affecting. Like I said, this book is very offensive. It is rife with every sort of racist trope about Black people that you could think of. But again, that is Beatty's way, I suppose, of mocking America and its blindness to its true condition. Beatty mentions many times Mark Twain, and I think that that was really a brilliant thing to include in the book, because I think in a way this novel does remind me of Twain in the sense that it is a satire. And I think one of the reasons why this book is so uncomfortable is that I feel like there's really not many satires that we have of American culture, at least in novel form. So it's very uncomfortable, but it's brilliant, and I really enjoyed it. I really recommend it to anyone who is willing to go along for the ride, because it's an excellent story and definitely one that will stay in my mind. I listened to the audiobook that was available via Audible. The narrator was Prentice Onyemi. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but he was an excellent narrator, so that's definitely recommended. Although the book is very smart and very dense, so you might want to read it as well. Thanks for listening, and if you have read this book or have any thoughts, please leave it below. Please keep in mind that, again, this book is very biting, and please understand that reading this, I think, is an exercise in listening to a African American voice, and listening to a satire on racism. So I, not being a Black person, being someone from the white perspective, is not the best person to understand this. But I do think that this book definitely rang true, and I thought that it was an extremely powerful novel. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.